Tonight on Cronkite News, advocates came together at the state capitol in support for cardiac response plans in Phoenix schools.
Plus, fentanyl has been named as the deadliest drug in Arizona. A forum was hosted completely in Spanish for the first time, giving the opportunity for the community to learn more about it.
Ethan Tuttle alongside Riley Swenson out here at TPC Scottsdale. Coming up on your Cronkite Sports Report, we'll have more coverage from this morning's Pro-Am.
We'll also give you a breakdown at some of the food spots around the golf course.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Eric List.
And I'm Leslie Chapman. Thank you for joining us.
The big winter storm finally arrived, dumping plenty of snow up north and rain here in the valley, putting a damper on the WM Phoenix Open.
Harris Hicks is there. He joins us now with a look at all of the rain and snow totals.
Well, my goodness, folks, we're getting some precipitation. That's right, in Flagstaff, we're getting 16 inches of snow. Highways were closed this morning. Now down south, we're getting 1 to 2 inches of rain. This is a storm trickling from the Pacific as we've already eclipsed our monthly average this February, seeing more in these 7 days already. So folks, stay tuned as we'll talk about how these golfers are going to be affected by the Waste Management Open up next. So grab your popcorn and relax.
Cardiac emergencies among youth can be scary for everyone involved. As Cronkite News reporter Maria Staubs tells us, that is one reason why several groups are trying to rally the legislature for cardiac emergency response plans in schools.
According to the American Heart Association, more than 23,000 children suffer cardiac arrest every year. Nearly 40% of those are related to sports. New legislation could ensure a quicker response for grades 6 through 12.
Matt Midkiff's daughter was just 12 years old when she suffered a cardiac arrest during soccer practice with her twin sister.
There was nothing we could do. We were just hoping, waiting for her to wake up, and really had no idea if she would wake up.
For 4 days, those were the thoughts going through Matt's head.
I was just at practice, and Piper balls, and everybody's panicking, and the coaches come running over. My dad comes running over when I call him, and then all of our teammates were freaked out, and she was just laying there.
She received CPR right away, and ultimately that is what saved her life, and it has allowed her to be back with us today.
He later found out his daughters had pre-existing heart conditions. Now they are helping rally support for a bill that implements cardiac emergency response plans in Arizona schools.
It's really about getting schools ready in the case of an emergency if one of the kids have a cardiac event. So we want to make sure they have a plan set to call 911, start CPR, and grab an AED.
The American Heart Association says the survival rate of cardiac arrest is around 10%.
So if you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, you need to act quickly, because every minute that passes between a cardiac arrest and them waking up, they lose 10% of their chance of survival.
Stinson says an emergency response plan would double the chances of survival.
If someone you know is experiencing a cardiac arrest, the American Heart Association recommends you begin CPR immediately. Find someone to call emergency services and locate the nearest AED. In the newsroom, Maria Staubs, Cronkite News.
And there is a new member walking the halls of the Capitol, filling a vacancy in the Arizona House of Representatives. Jevin Hodge was nominated by the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors to fill the seat. He's replacing a seat once held by Athena Salmon. She resigned last year to take a job with the abortion rights group. There are still seats open in the House after several members resigned over the last few weeks.
Fentanyl is now the deadliest drug in Arizona. In fact, according to experts, a few grains can lead to death. That's one reason the Maricopa County Attorney's Office held a public forum to educate the Hispanic community about the deadly drug.
Cronkite News reporter Gadiel Navarrete was at the forum and tells us there are many resources available to help combat the deadly drug.
This was the first time the forum was hosted completely in Spanish, and dozens of parents and community members showed up eager to learn. The Salvation Army Kroc Center was packed to the brim as participants took notes and others recorded the event to share with their loved ones. taking something away from the hour-long forum. Among the panelists was Ronnie Morales, a fentanyl survivor turned activist whose goal is normalizing the conversation of substance addiction among the Hispanic community.
It shows that this topic, you can't ignore it anymore. You know what I mean? That's exactly why they stayed, and that's exactly why we're here, and I'm just really excited for the next one.
Attendees were given Narcan in case they ever need to help someone experiencing an overdose. County officials say they will host more events in the future, specifically geared towards the Hispanic community. In the newsroom, Galia Navarrete, Cronkite News.
Coming up next, a new proposal that puts climbers in a rocky situation.
That's because a new federal policy may ban fixed anchors used by climbers in some areas. Find out why when we return.
And Mother Nature moved into the valley last night, but she's not done yet. How much more rain can we expect? Well, find out next.
Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Southern Arizona climbers are familiar with the excitement of navigating the tricky rock faces of mountain and outcrops and desert canyons.
But as Zariah Cole found out, climbers are concerned a new federal policy may take away safe access to certain routes.
Kate Junick is used to climbing the highest peaks, reaching for the safe spots on the mountain. She uses fixed anchors in the rock to clip her ropes in so that if she falls, she won't fall far. But she is worried a new proposal relating to climbing in national forest lands will impact the sport she loves.
If this gets passed, it just really runs the risk of climbing becoming a lot more dangerous than it can be.
Under the new proposal, fixed anchors would be banned in many locations as they are considered installations, a breach of the Wilderness Act.
But the issue with an installation in wilderness is that it's not really defined ever. So what fits the tenets of wilderness and what doesn't, you can't really say without definitions around what those words actually mean.
If the proposal is adopted, new and existing fixed anchors would be reviewed to see if they are damaging the rock in a process called minimum requirements analysis. Maggie Dawson says this could mean taking out more than 30,000 anchors in Mount Lemmon alone.
We've been waiting since July of last year for the MRA to get finished. So when I say, they want to do that process for every single bolt, we could be looking at decades.
Climbers worry the new rules could result in unsafe situations.
With these particular policies is I think they go a little too far in that they have decided that the existing bolts and anchors are prohibited, and if we are to find bolts or anchors that need to be replaced for safety reasons, we are not allowed to do that.
Another requirement in the proposal calls for a permit for permanent anchors, similar to what is required for hunting, fishing, and camping on public lands.
I think no one was expecting the proposal to be so restrictive.
Until a decision is made, the climbing community will continue to try and find solutions that work for everyone.
And I hope we can come to some resolution to find a nice happy middle ground, because I understand where it's coming from, but I think there's better ways to go about it.
In Tucson, Arizona, I'm Zariah Cole, Cronkite News.
In an email, the Forest Services says there will be a new directive that will provide guidance to give both climbing opportunities while also protecting natural and cultural resources. They do not know how it will impact individual forests across the country until public comments have been reviewed.
And it looks like the outdoor activities are being put on hold due to the winter storm.
That's definitely a possibility, Eric, but Harris Hicks joins us from the WM Phoenix Open in Scottsdale to see what Mother Nature has in store.
It's a Hail Mary here at TPC Scottsdale. That's right. We saw some hail this morning. Now that hail is since chilled, as tonight we're going to be looking at the mid-50s in temperature with some clouds. But folks, let's answer the dreaded question. How are these golfers going to be affected by these circumstances? As we're going to be getting some pretty heavy wind and some light rain from about 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So guys like Jordan Spieth that are going in the morning will be at an advantage. They'll be avoiding it. Guys like Scotty Scheffler going in the afternoon will be playing right in the brunt of it. Now we're supposed to get about 1/4 of an inch of rain, not too shabby, but just enough to affect play. If we look at the chances of rain, it is going to go down on Friday and Saturday with some light clouds on Sunday, but mostly sunshine. And from Monday to Friday, we stick back to the Arizona bread and butter. Nice and sunny, sticking in the high 60s and low 70s. From TPC Scottsdale, this is Harris Hicks.
Now to a look at news from across America. Rescuers in California are searching for 5 missing U.S. Marines.
Their military helicopter was reportedly found in Pine Valley, California. The Marines are currently in contact with the San Diego County Sheriff's Office and are coordinating on the search efforts. The helicopter departed Creech Air Force Naval Base in Nevada and was headed to the Marine Corps Air Station in Miramar near San Diego Tuesday night before its disappearance. First responders have requested additional support with the search effort due to heavy snow.
And the House failed to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. This comes after months of examination by House Republicans over President Biden's handling of security at the border. According to Representative Ken Buck, the House would re-vote on impeaching Secretary Mayorkas.
And now it's time to see what's in store for the Cronkite Sports Report as the team hit the road.
I'm Riley Swenson here at TPC Scottsdale. Coming up on the Cronkite Sports Report, we'll have coverage from this morning's Pro-Am and some Arizona Diamondbacks who took part.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
Hello and welcome into the Cronkite Sports Report from TPC Scottsdale. I'm Riley Swenson, that's Ethan Tuttle. And Ethan, we had some weather roll in today. Rain, hail, long story short, the Annexus Pro-Am was cut short and eventually canceled.
That's right, Riley, as Mother Nature threw everything at TPC Scottsdale earlier today, and unfortunately, for some of the golfers and fans alike, as well as the celebrities, they weren't able to maximize this day.
But before that weather did roll in, we saw the professional golfers, along with the celebrities, hitting the tee line and warming up. It was quite the sight to see.
Yeah, absolutely. The stars were out in full force, and it felt like big name after big name kept coming to the driving range to warm up for the event. From the movie set to the tee line, Glenn Powell was the first celeb out getting some swings in, but he would be followed by plenty of other big names. The one who drew the most attention, none other than former Alabama football coach Nick Saban. The recent retiree drew a crowd and met with tour star and Alabama alum Justin Thomas, possibly for some last-second tips. And hey, although the swings are different, the baseball players got out there as well. Here's some thoughts from a few of the celebs.
This is my first Waste Management Open. I'm unbelievably excited. I got my dad here as my caddy. We got, my cousins here. I got a bunch of my family here. My sisters are here. I'm not a good enough golfer to take this thing seriously, so I'm just planning on having a good time today.
For me, I'm a golf nut, so being able to watch some of these pros up close is special for me. Being able to pick up, something here or there, whether it's position or posture or whatever, mental something.
It's a big difference between pro and us, But I'm looking forward to the challenge. Looking forward to learn something from those guys.
Saw a few of the celebs right there, but the Arizona Diamondbacks also took part this morning. Manager Torey Lovullo, along with pitchers Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, were out at the Pro-Am. And to give us a breakdown on how the Snakes fared, here's Cronkite News reporter Danny Sullivan.
Fresh off a 2023 World Series appearance, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and Torey Lovullo made their way over to the Annexus Pro-Am in some unfamiliar weather conditions.
The wind could be a factor today. I don't play great golf in the wind. I tend to hit a ball that's kind of spinny, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, there'll be more people out here. I'm excited just to get out here. It's a fun day.
Gallen and company will be ready to compete against the rest of the baseball world soon. But for now, there's nothing like a little friendly competition, with some more confident than others.
I don't think Torey, no offense to Torey's game, I haven't seen it yet, but I would put my money on me versus Torey any day of the week. Gallen, we haven't talked to yet. When he gets down here, maybe we'll talk about some wagers, see if we can get something going.
With baseball season right around the corner, manager Torey Lovullo knows just how important events like these are for the team's mindset off the field.
Our mindset was to get away from it for a little while, encourage the players to absorb it and get away from it for a little while, and then create some sort of a hunger after the new year. And I could already tell, I've been out to Salt River a few times, and I know those guys are ready to go, and we're all looking forward to that.
With pitchers and catchers set to report to spring training on February 14th, that means these guys can enjoy the lives of a dual sport athlete for just a bit longer. From the People's Open, I'm Danny Sullivan, Cronkite News.
A lot of fun for those guys to get out. I know it's a little bit different swing between baseball bat and golf club, but either way, a good time for the Diamondbacks players.
Yeah, absolutely. And Riley, with all the attention and focus centered around TPC Scottsdale Stadium course today with the Annexus Pro-Am going on and the tournament soon set to happen later this week, a lot of fun out here, but all the action yesterday was out of the Champions course as PGA Tour players and their partners were out on the links having fun for a good cause. The PGA Tour Wives Association came together once again for a 9-hole event ahead of the WM Phoenix Open. And how about starting it off with presenting a $20,000 check to St. Mary's Food Bank? Not a bad start. All told, the group has raised over $5 million for child-related charities and golf communities. Several tour stars were in attendance, including the man who's had a stranglehold on this tournament, Scotty Scheffler. He's won the last 2 events here and is looking for 3, but today it was all about coming together for a greater good.
Super cool event. I mean, all the wives do so much for us out on tour, and it's a cool way for us to get together and kind of flip roles. We caddy a little bit, come on, all hang out and dress up and have a good time. So all for good causes, and very exciting about it.
All right, you heard Ben Griffin right there, Riley, as a lot of fun with the PGA Tour stepping behind the bag and caddying for their partners. Just a great atmosphere.
Yeah, it certainly was a lot of fun, but we can't forget even the golf tournament going on here. But how about the Super Bowl coming up this weekend? 49ers defensive back Isaiah Oliver is going to play in the big game for the first time ever. The Phoenix native and 6-year NFL veteran has come a long way from his days at Brophy Prep. And to tell us how he's got here and playing in the big game this weekend, we have Cronkite News reporter TJ Hayes.
Former Brophy College prep star Isaiah Oliver has an opportunity this weekend to achieve football glory. The cornerback will try to win on the game's biggest stage with the San Francisco 49ers in a journey that started here in the Valley.
As they get to know him, realize he's somebody has a huge heart, extremely humble, hardworking.
At a young age, Isaiah grew to love the same sports as his dad, a former NFL player and decathlete. Once Isaiah reached Brophy, his quiet, hard-working mentality was infectious.
He never left the field. He started on defense as a corner, started on offense as a wide receiver. His senior year set records that have not been broken, probably won't be broken for a long time. But the impact that he made was incredible.
Not only was Isaiah Oliver an insane football athlete here at Brophy, but he was an even better decathlon and track athlete as well. To this day, Isaiah still holds 3 records at Brophy. All along, Oliver made it clear that his goal was to make it to the NFL, and after attending the University of Colorado Boulder, he was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in 2018. In 5 seasons in Atlanta, Oliver never made it to the playoffs, but after joining the 49ers this season, he found a new home and the biggest opportunity of his life.
That was one of the reasons why he chose San Francisco, was the opportunity to get to a Super Bowl, and to see it come to fruition is just great.
Come game time on Sunday, Oliver will try to make his mark. He has always had the uncanny ability to make plays since his time at Brophy.
In the playoffs of 2014, his senior year, he made some just remarkable plays at remarkable times.
Oliver's journey has been 10 years in the making, and Sunday could be a crowning achievement for the Phoenix native as he tries to etch his name into football glory. In Phoenix, TJ Hayes, Cronkite News.
Well, we got our Super Bowl fix in, but here back at TPC Scottsdale, Ethan, still a lot of people milling around. We already said the golf's got canceled. We know about the party culture here. What about the food culture?
Yeah, well, I think we're about to find out as our own Kevin Malater and Eric List took a trip around TPC Scottsdale to check out all the food options. Deliver that to you.
Well, here at TPC Scottsdale, it's obviously known for its iconic scenery, the 16th hole, and as many people know it as well as alcohol as well. But here today, Eric, we're here for food.
Yes, Kevin, and there are many, many food options here. We're sitting at the fan zone right now. We've got plenty of food behind us. I know you haven't eaten all day. I haven't either. We're hungry. I think we should get into it.
We're here at Little Miss Barbecue. They're out here in the Desert Oasis, which is right by Hole 7 here at TPC Scottsdale. We have their famous brisket sandwich here, Eric. I'm very excited about this one.
Kevin, this one looks great.
It's just their traditional brisket with their special house sauce on it. Let's dig in, shall we?
Yes.
Let's do this thing. They made a small sample just for us, despite them not being open. That's good. That's good. And Eric, obviously, brisket takes a long time to cook, as many people know.
Yes.
But, I mean, especially when you're doing something like this, where they make thousands and thousands of pounds of brisket for the TPC and for Waste Management Phoenix Open, their chefs, some of them come in here at 4 a.m. And we got tortas per kima here. So we got these ribeye steak tacos. Here's a couple things. You get 4 tacos within this basket, but the crucial thing is, though, it's a 15-minute wait for some tacos. So hopefully, Eric, this will be worth the wait.
They look phenomenal, Kevin.
Shall we dig in?
Yeah. We put lime on it already.
It's got a nice salsa on it as well. Here we go. Cheers. I mean, that steak is just so perfectly cooked. And not to mention, the hint of lime is good. Salsa's incredible. That's just really good. It's been a fun day. Our stomachs are full, and it was a really cool opportunity for us to showcase some local businesses here at TPC Scottsdale.
Yeah, Kevin, this was an awesome time, and we didn't even get to everything that was out here. There's so much out here for everyone and the people to enjoy.
Those are a couple spots that we highlight. We encourage you to try out if you're coming out to the Waste Management Phoenix Open this weekend. In Scottsdale, Eric Liston, Kevin Malater, Cronkite News.
Those places Eric and Kevin visited also have brick and mortar locations here in the Valley. I don't know about you, Ethan, but that made me a little hungry.
Yeah, we might have to go check that out as soon as the broadcast is over and wrapped up. And speaking of wrapping up, that's going to do it for Riley Swenson and myself from TPC Scottsdale for today's Cronkite Sports Report.
Coming up next, a furry friend escaped on a college campus.
Find out how this unusual pet ended up at one university.
Three, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
A wallaby at Lincoln Memorial University had a hopping good time.
That's right. This unusual pet escaped and explored the campus.
The university posted on social media that a resident's pet escaped and was seen bouncing across campus. The wallaby ended up in the woods behind one of the buildings. Local and state officials were able to capture the wallaby and thankfully return it to the owner.
Well, that's it for Cronkite News. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.